back in a couple of months and realize I was an absolute idiot for making this video. Today, however, I want to talk about a couple of things we can start doing now to prepare our pets for life post-pandemic. At least in the US, the number of COVID cases has started to decrease. More and more people are getting vaccinated, including myself. I just got my first dose a couple of days ago. And a lot of the schools, at least in my area, are going to be opening for in-person going next year. So in saying that, we've had a very comfortable lives in the pandemic, and it's going to be a huge transition, not only for us as people to get used to start going out every day, working our 9 to 5, or just having an 8-hour school day, but it's also going to be a huge transition on your animals. And today I want to talk about some of the ways that we can ease that transition, and maybe some of the things that you didn't have to think about during the pandemic, but are going to be a front and center problem as soon as life resumes back to normalcy, or at least somewhat normalcy. During quarantine, no one has thrived more than the animals. I don't want to discount all the lives lost and disrupted due to the pandemic, but there's no doubt these guys all had a really good time. Even though a lot of us still have to do work from home or online school, just being able to be with our animals is a great form of enrichment for them. However, as soon as things start up in person again, you're going to have to start thinking about different ways you can provide that enrichment for your animals. I started to stock up on more interactive toys for both my Chihuahua and especially my rabbits, because they've been so spoiled during this pandemic, and I honestly haven't really needed to buy them any chew toys or anything because I just hang out with them so much. Some other things you can do for enrichment is just start teaching them more tricks and more activities. For example, if you haven't worked on recall training or fetch with your dog, that's probably going to be a very important skill. Also, just different habits now that you can implement that's going to ensure that your animals are going to have a very enriching life even post-pandemic. A great thing you can do for rabbits is scatter feeding or getting a dig box and feeding in that. Again, these are just little changes to your daily routine that's going to make sure that your animals stay stimulated even during weeks where you have really intense vitals. The next thing I want to talk about is automatic feeders and waterers. I know for me, one of the best things about being home all the time is I've been able to get my animals on a really good schedule. Having an ideal time that you're feeding your animals really helps just regulate their digestive system. It's a lot better for their health and their potty habits. That brings me on to this WoPet pet feeder. You guys know that I featured their automatic water in a past video where I talked all about water quality. However, I really wanted to feature this product in this video because I think it's so important that we keep our animals on a really good schedule, and sometimes they're just not realistic. If you have a meeting that runs over, or you're just running late from work and you can't feed your dog in time, or your rabbits, this pet feeder is going to be absolutely perfect for them. I love the design. I feel like it's very chic and modern looking. The color blends great in with my decor, and just very easy to use. I feel like it's the perfect amount, especially for rabbit pellets. I've seen a lot of the other automatic feeders and they're just absolutely massive, and I like that this is a lot smaller size. It's very convenient. I'm going to be using it for my dog, but for those of you that have rabbits and feed more pelleted diets, I think it would also be great for them. This video isn't sponsored. They're not paying me to say any of this. They did send me the product for free, but besides that, these are all my own opinions and I've loved using them. Another thing to consider in transitioning your pet's life to post-pandemic is exercise. I know during quarantine, walks have been absolutely essential, and your dog is probably super spoiled because of it. When your schedule starts to return back to normal, you have to realize what's realistic for you. Maybe taking 5-mile walks every single day, you just aren't going to have time for. So in that case, you're going to have to find new ways to exercise your pets. I think now would be a great time to teach your dogs fetch, or work with them on tug-of-war and different commands like that, or even start getting into new routines. Maybe just instead of going on walks, you also start taking them to more dog parks, and you start getting more comfortable with recall training, so you could potentially do off-leash dog parks. I think dog parks are a huge thing. Don't want to talk about it right now. Let me know if you guys want a whole video about dog parks, but yeah. Just realize that your pets are going to probably need a lot more exercise than you think, especially because when you're at work or school all day, they're likely sleeping. So anything you can do to just help keep them entertained and teach them new tricks and skills that you can work on to burn off that energy is going to be so helpful. In fact, a lot of bad behavior isn't really bad behavior. They're just bored and they don't have an outlet for the energy. Another thing that's so important to teach your animals is independence, and especially you're used to being home all the time and you got your pet during the pandemic, it's going to be very difficult for them how to know how to just be on their own and especially play on their own. I see this a lot with all the quarantine puppies. They are just so dependent on people, and this is not a good skill to have. The same way that it's important as a human or a person, you learn to be bored and you learn to make do with that boredom, the same thing is important for animals. Especially if you guys are someone who has free roam rabbits and they're just not used to being alone, what's likely going to happen is once you transition and start going back in person, they're going to become very destructive because they don't know how to be just bored and what to do by themselves. So starting now, making sure that you can correct bad habits, thus teaching them that it's okay to be on their own and what things they can and can't do when they're alone is so important. Another important thing to talk about is setting boundaries. Now, don't get me wrong, I love all my pets so much and I definitely treat them like children, but sometimes there's a fine line to draw between a puppy and a child, and if you're not implementing good discipline, your dog isn't going to be happy and you're going to be unhappy. For example, I know a lot of people feel terrible when they're not feeding their dogs table scraps, but at the end of the day, those table scraps are extremely unhealthy. You're just doing your dog more damage, and if you're not putting the boundaries in and teaching them that it's not their place to be right at your feet during dinner time and begging and scratching for food, not only are you hurting their health, but you can actually have some very bad, dangerous habits start. Now, obviously, these things are always important, but I think especially during quarantine, a lot of us have become a little bit more flexible on our boundaries. For example, maybe you don't usually allow your rabbits in your bedroom, but because you spend so much time in your bedroom, you've started breaking some rules like that. I do think now is a good time to start reinforcing those boundaries so that when you do transition to going back in person, it's not going to be a huge change. And the last thing I want to talk about is something y'all know that I'm so passionate about, and that's about getting your animals companions. All social species can benefit from a same species companion. Obviously, we're great companions. Your rabbits probably love you, your dog probably loves you, your cats probably love you, but at the end of the day, you can't communicate with them and you can't be with them the same way that another same species could. For those of you that don't know, I have 2 rabbits, and I always get questions of why do you always say that your rabbits need to be in pairs, but you have a Chihuahua that lives alone? If I could have 2 Chihuahuas, I would definitely do it. Long story short, I'm just not that good of a dog owner, and we make it work with Coco. It just wouldn't work with 2 dogs because our lifestyle isn't really fit for them. As soon as I move out and I have my own place and I'm able to make decisions on my own, I'm getting him a friend, probably around the same age so that they can grow old together. I don't think I'm going to be owning dogs for the rest of my life. Like rabbits, I can't imagine my life without a rabbit. I can't imagine my life without Coco, but I think I would be fine without a dog, if that makes sense. So yes, if you're able to get your dog a companion, I think that's also great. I'm not saying to adopt like 2 puppies that are the same. A lot of people do that wrong. A lot of people think it's going to be easier. They're like, I'm getting 1 puppy, might as well get 2 puppies. But in reality, they're just going to have litter mate syndrome. And you need to be raising both of those puppies as complete individuals, or they're going to be completely codependent and not listen to you at all. I think most good breeders aren't going to allow you to adopt 2 puppies from the same litter because it's just so commonly what happens. Because it's really tough to like treat 2 puppies completely independently. But yeah, if you know that your schedule is going to be getting a lot busier and you're not going to be able to be home and be your full-time rabbit buddy, you might now want to start looking into getting them a companion. It is going to be a long process. Not all 2 rabbits are going to get along. Not even all 2 dogs. Dogs are so highly social. Not even all 2 dogs will get along. So it might take you a while to find the search, but I would say that now is the time to start before your school starts up again. So that's it from us, guys. Let me know some of the ways that you guys are going to be transitioning your pet's life post-quarantine. I definitely need some tips. I need a lot of tips for me too, personally, because I can't imagine waking up at 7 and actually getting myself dressed and out the door. I can't imagine wearing jeans 5 days of the week. I've been so loving the sweatpant life. So be sure to leave any tips you have for me, or of course the animals. I hope that your animals enjoy the time they were able to stay home with them in quarantine, and I hope that these tips will make it have a very smooth transition. Also, be sure to check out my description box down below for the Whoa Pet Feeder. Again, not sponsored, not being paid to say this, but it's genuinely such a good product, and I'm so glad that I have it for Coco. I think a lot of you would really like it for your rabbits. A lot of you have also told me that you have issues where your rabbits can become very aggressive during feeding. This is a very normal behavior because even though you're not going to eat their rabbit pellets or their veggies, in their head, they still kind of see you as a threat. Usually, most nips and bites happen during feeding for dogs and rabbits. So if you're able to maybe just add a little bit of distance between yourself, I think this feeder would also be great for that. I'm definitely going to be showing it in more videos because, again, it's a product that I genuinely love and I'm going to be using. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the description below and go to the Amazon link. It's a really great price. It's around $50, so highly recommend it. Thank y'all. Bye.